As many of you know, Manhwa or Webtoons is the South Korean version of manga, which is the Japanese version of a comic book, which is just a longer version of the mini cartoons from newspapers. But I've only covered one on the channel, and that was literally over a year ago. So when a manhwa won a voting poll over 2 months ago, then I got really excited to cover it. And what made me even more excited was the massive support this series got. Bastard is a horror manhwa made by famous manhwa creator Carnby Kim, the same creator of Sweet Home, Pigpen, and Shotgun Boy. Also, this series is long, over 97 chapters, and I want to make sure to be able to cover basically the entire thing. But to do that, we are going to be splitting this video into 4 parts, and all 4 parts will be coming out relatively soon. So you do not have to wait 2 or 3 months per part like some series that I have on this channel. This series won by an overwhelming amount of votes, so let's see if Bastard is really worth the hype. The series begins with a TV report announcing the disappearance and kidnappings of multiple women, rumored to be connected to organ trafficking. A boy named Jin is being taught at home by his tutor when his father suddenly appears. Jin's father tells him that he's leaving on a business trip, so the tutor will be taking care of Jin while he's gone. After his father leaves, the tutor begins asking Jin questions. Jin brushes them off and recites a list of dates of when his father went on business trips. He then goes to the bathroom, and once he's there, he moves a painting aside to reveal a hidden hole where he grabs a giant hammer. The dates he told the tutor aren't just the times his father went on trips, they're also the dates when someone in the neighborhood went missing. We then see the tutor's lifeless body on the ground, bloodied and battered, as Jin sits next to her, covered in blood. That night, Jin has a reoccurring nightmare where he's pushed off a building by a mysterious figure. And that same morning, he walks down the street as he notices a flyer advertising for a tutor. He rips it off the pole, crumbles it up and throws it away before continuing on. Later, Jin's father comes across an old man arguing with a younger man. He tries to intervene, but he gets punched in the face by the younger man. At school, students are talking about the tutor who's gone missing, the same tutor that Jin killed. Jin is bullied relentlessly and nicknamed Glass Eye due to having lost an eye. He's practically invisible to everyone else except 3 specific bullies: Manny, the ringleader, Pan, Manny's right-hand man, and Park, who gets bullied by Manny and takes out all of his frustration on Jin. One day, Jin sees Park getting beat up in the schoolyard. Park is being punished because he was supposed to buy booze for Manny, but he lost his wallet. It's revealed that Jin was the one who stole it. Just then, Jin's father appears nearby. He smiles and then walks away, while Jin mutters to himself that his father disgusts him. The next day, Park finds out that Jin stole his wallet and beats him savagely, so badly that Jin nearly dies. He wakes up in the hospital where a teacher informs him that his artificial heart valve stopped working and that he genuinely almost died. The teacher also tells him that the new transfer student, a girl named Kyun, was the one who called 911. While the teacher steps out to take a phone call, Kyun tells Jin that she didn't tell the teacher what really happened. When the teacher returns, he tells Jin that his father is on his way to visit. Jin panics and he yells at Kyun to leave. She doesn't understand why, but Jin screams at her to just screw off. Upset, she storms out, and Jin begs the teacher to tell his father not to come. Outside, Jin sees his father helping out an old lady. Her grandson arrives and rudely tells Jin's father to back off. Watching this, Jin calls his father a disgusting hypocrite. We then cut to a flashback of Jin's father teaching Jin's elementary school class a lesson about happiness. The students say things like making money or becoming famous will make them happy, but Jin's father argues that those kinds of happiness can be lost. True happiness, he says, comes from kindness, service, and love. Back in the present, Jin's teacher talks to his father about what happened and mentions the new transfer student. After the teacher leaves, Jin's father pulls out the same flyer that Jin had ripped out earlier. Jin remembers the moment after he killed his tutor. He had dragged her body into the kitchen, pushed aside the refrigerator, and revealed a hidden door. He knocks, and his father opened it with a terrifying smile, asking if Jin had taken care of everything. Behind the door is a secret room filled with tools and a bed. His father tells him to bring the tutor in. Now in the present, Jin's father asks if he was the one who tore up the flyer. Jin's father is a murderer, and Jin is just the accomplice. Even though we're only 4 chapters in, this feels like a massive plot twist that's been building up since the beginning, and it was very effective. The 2 incidents with Jin's father and the randoms really caught me off guard, so this series is already getting an A+ for me. So let's just continue. Jin's oldest memory is of him laying down in a hospital bed. When he woke up, he had lost the use of one eye, had artificial valves in his heart, and metal pins and plates in his joints. His mother had died a long time ago, and his only living blood relative was his father. At a young age, Jin's father taught him how to assist in murdering his victims. At first, Jin was terrified, but he could see it in his father's face that if he didn't do it, he would be called a useless bastard. If he wasn't useful, then he might as well die. So Jin quickly tightened up and complied. Back in the present, Jin tells his father that he wasn't the one who tore down the flyer. His father asks him if there's anyone on his mind today. Jin replies with Park's name, but his father smacks him and he says no men, only women. Jin thinks of the transfer student, but tells his father that there aren't any girls on his mind. But his father mocks him and mentions having seen a cute girl in a school uniform walk by. He then describes Kyun and comments that she looks just like Jin's mother, even though Jin doesn't think so. His father's name is revealed to be Tong-Soo, and he asks if that's the girl who saved him, but Jin denies it. Tong-Soo says that he'll check Jin out of the hospital and that tomorrow he wants Jin to find her. The next day, we see Jin buying gym equipment and doing push-ups in his room, all while thinking about Kyun. Suddenly, his father walks into the apartment, and Jin is absolutely terrified. Tong-Soo calls out for him, knowing that he's there. Jin nervously walks out of his room. His father asks if he's been working out, which Jin denies. We then cut to a flashback. Jin and Tong-Soo are visiting Jin's uncle and cousin. Jin and his father are pretending to have a good time, and they come off as a friendly father and son pair. The conversation suddenly shifts to about working out, and Jin's cousin comments that Jin should be getting stronger now that he's in high school. Jin's uncle suggests a little arm wrestling match between him and his father, so they begin to arm wrestle, but Tong-Soo doesn't budge. But he can also tell that Jin is trying desperately to win. Jin wants to get stronger so he can be able to defeat the despicable murderer that he calls his father. Tong-Soo squeezes his hand hard and he says, "When did you get so strong?" Ultimately, Tong-Soo wins, but Jin realizes something. Tong-Soo has never truly seen him as a son. He always keeps a close watch at him, and the moment that he senses Jin becoming a threat, he'll kill him without hesitation. Back in the present, Park is being beat up for nearly killing Jin and potentially getting the whole group in trouble. Manny notices Jin watching and he calls him over. He asks Park what Jin's name is, and Park says Jin's son. Manny then asks Jin what happened between them, but Jin says that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Manny laughs and then he forces Park to lie on his stomach and apologize to Jin. As Park is apologizing, Manny looks at Jin and notices a grin on his face. Afterward, when Jin and Park leave, Manny starts to question whether Jin is actually afraid of them or not. As Jin walks home, he reveals that the group of bullies actually don't scare him. After all, he's living with the devil. He then looks up and he sees Kyun watching him from a distance. They start talking about the time that she saved them from Park. She asks about the ticking in his chest and why people call him Glass Eye. Jin stays silent while Kyun casually just eats a tub of ice cream. Suddenly, she brings up the hospital incident and says that Jun must really hate his dad. She can tell from his facial reactions. She mentions that his father must have been very worried about him. Then she starts reflecting on her own father, who died when she was young. Jin tells her that he's just embarrassed to show off his dad since he's super weird, and Kyun doesn't know how lucky she is. Kyun tells him to cut the crap and just be nice to his dad while he still can. This completely shocks Jin. He plays that moment over and over in his head while riding a train. An old man in front of him starts complaining, bitter that Jin just wouldn't give up his seat. As he rants about how awful the younger generation is, Manny suddenly appears and shuts him up. After the old man leaves, Manny says that Jin's father is actually his father's competitor in business. He didn't know Jin was rich either. Manny then tells Jin that walking around all droopy affects how people see him as well, but Jin ignores him. Manny asks how he could be so fearless. Jin simply replies saying that he doesn't talk much. Then, Manny invites him out somewhere. The two head to a gym where Jin holds Manny's punching bag during his workout. Afterward, Jin realizes that Manny isn't just a bully, but he's really strong too. As Manny walks away, he threatens to kill Jin if he tells anyone that they've been hanging out. But Jin calls out to him, asking him to wait. Jin says that he wants to get stronger too, and asks Manny to teach him. Manny just laughs at first, but then he marches over, grabs Jin's shirt, and says that he doesn't want to be friends with a disabled kid like him. He reminds Jin that if it wasn't for his father, he would have been dead by now. Manny demands that Jin gets on the ground and apologizes, but Jin holds his stance and he stays silent. Manny then smiles and says, "I knew you weren't normal." We then cut to Tong-soo, who's being interviewed for an article. The woman interviewing him begins to flirt, and they end up sleeping together in a hotel. During the act, Tong-soo imagines the woman as Jin's mother. The next morning, Kyun receives a threatening letter from a loan office. We flash back to her talking to her boss in an alleyway near a club. She needs money but is unsure about the job. The boss tells her that there are plenty of girls who would gladly take her place. All she has to do is have a few drinks, laugh, and make some easy money. In the present, she tells herself that there isn't a job in the world that she can't do. We then see Jin working out at the gym with Manny. After the session, Manny complains about a girl who keeps on trying to talk to him, but she makes him a ton of money. Jin asks what exactly he does with these girls to make money. Manny just grins and tells him to come with him. But before we get to the next part, I just want to say that we now have a Discord server. So if you guys want to talk about your favorite series, get recommendations, and just connect with some like-minded fans of mine, then this is the server for you. We'll soon be hosting live community events like games, live reactions, and live readings only on the Discord server. So if you want to be involved in this, then why not scroll down and join our community. Also, we just opened up a Patreon, so if you guys want early access videos, uncensored videos, and just to support the channel in general, then why not go ahead and check out the Patreon. But back to the video. Tong-soo is in the middle of a business deal with two clients, but the men are being difficult. They figured out that Tong-soo is actually a wealthy businessman named Tong-soo's son, and now refuse to pay for any of his organ trafficking services. They tell him that since he doesn't need the money, he should just do it for free. Tong-soo calmly removes his mask and hat and agrees. Then, he kills both men, stating that this isn't just a hobby to him, but instead, it's love. He loves the women that he murders. Back at the club, Kyun agrees to work for her boss. The boss tells her to change clothes and reminds her not to reveal her real age. Kyun lines up with several other women as three creepy guys pick out their favorites. One of them especially likes Kyun because she looks young. The group heads out to a karaoke room to sing and drink, but the man who picked Kyun starts getting a bit too touchy, and she becomes extremely uncomfortable. In the club lobby, Manny and Jin suddenly appear. It's revealed that the boss is the girl Manny had been talking about. She's surprised that Jin is so young, but Manny assures her that it's fine. He gets Jin a girl while he heads off to enjoy himself with the boss. While Jin waits in the lobby, Kyun is still stuck in the karaoke room. The man gropes her and tries to grab her chest. Kyun tells him to stop, but when he persists, she slaps him. She quickly apologizes, but the man smacks her across the face. He drags Kyun out of the room, calling out for the boss. On his way through the hall, he sees Jin. He slaps Kyun again, and in a flash, Jin punches him in the face. Manny and the boss walk in just in time to see it all happen. The scene then cuts to Kyun and Jin sitting by a river, both of them bruised and beaten up. He asks Kyun why she was even there in the first place. Kyun then screams that her parents died and left her with a mountain of debt that she can't repay. Jin responds that he didn't need all the details, then asks her how much debt she's in. We cut to the next day where Jin is sitting alone in class. Kyun's debt is revealed to be 130 million won. To Jin, it doesn't seem like much, but Kyun believes Jin couldn't possibly have that kind of money. Jin receives a text from his father saying that he deposited 1.5 million won into Jin's bank account. He follows it up by asking if Jin had found the girl yet. Manny appears and tells Jin that he fixed everything with the boss, but that Kyun ended up getting fired. Manny and Jin start talking like friends, and Jin thanks him, saying that he was wrong about him in a lot of ways. Manny asks, "Did anything happen yesterday?" and laughs while leaving the classroom. Jin looks out the window and sees Kyun being friendly with another boy. He gets angry and begins to type a message to his father saying that he had found her. But before he sends it, he looks back out the window and sees Kyun waving at him. Jin then hesitates and deletes the message, and instead he sends a text saying he couldn't find her. The next day in class, the teacher is giving a sex ed class, but Jin doesn't understand any of it. He doesn't understand what sex is or how pregnancies work, so after class he approaches Kyun and asks her what porn is. She's clearly embarrassed by it, but she tries to explain it briefly. Jin still doesn't understand and he missed the sex ed class back in middle school. Kyun asks why none of his friends ever told him about sex or porn, but Jin says he doesn't have any friends. Then she asks why his parents didn't teach him. We then cut to a flashback of Tung-soo dragging a beaten woman into his secret chamber. Jin leans in at the door and hears the woman screaming while his father just laughs. Back in the present, Jin has a panic attack in front of Kyun. Later, Jin is at home searching up the word porn, but nothing comes up. He becomes upset that he still just doesn't understand what it means. Jin then visits Manny, who gives him a lesson about the most important factor in fighting: guts. Manny tells him that confidence is key, and without it, you can't win. Jin begins to understand and he goes home. Pan then asks Manny why he's training Jin, but Manny says it's all for fun. We cut to Kyun walking down the street, thinking about Jin and the incident that happened the day before. She enters a convenience store that has a help wanted sign posted. Suddenly, Tong-soo walks in and enters the same store. They narrowly miss each other and Kyun ends up getting the job. Soon after, Manny walks into the store and starts chatting with Kyun. Tong-soo hears the commotion from inside and catches the phrase transfer student. His interest immediately piqued and he locks in, realizing that he just found his victim. They talk about the incident at the karaoke bar, and after Kyun leaves, Tong-soo notices a cell phone left behind. A cell phone that belongs to Kyun. Manny asks the store clerk for cigarettes even though he knows he's underage. Tong-soo steps in and says that he shouldn't be buying cigarettes because it could get the worker in trouble. Manny turns to him and gives him some attitude, grabbing onto his shirt, but after looking into his eyes he pauses and he lets go. He walks away saying that the man looked very familiar. Tong-soo leaves, and moments later, Kyun returns looking for her phone. At Tung-soo's office, he goes through all of Kyun's messages and photos. He sees messages from her debt collectors and pictures of Kyun with her grandfather. Realizing that he finally found his target, he begins laughing maniacally and he lets all of his workers go home early. He then texts the debt collectors, telling them that Kyun has their money and wants to meet up with her that night. We cut to Jin and Manny walking down the street when they find Kyun crying. She says that she lost her phone, so Jin offers to call it to see if anyone picks up. When he calls, Tong-soo answers. Jin freezes in shock but lies to Manny and Kyun, saying that no one picked up. Meanwhile, the debt collectors are waiting outside a station to meet Kyun, but Tong-soo texts them and tells them to go to her house instead. As they head off, it's revealed that he's been hiding right next to them this entire time. He follows them. The collectors knock on Kyun's door and Tong-soo watches from the hallway. Now, he knows exactly where she lives. Jin suggests checking the store's security footage to see who took the phone. When they do, it clearly shows Tong-soo. Manny recognizes the man as the old guy who confronted him earlier, and turns to see Jin completely frozen in fear. Jin asks Kyun if she had any passwords on her phone, and she says no. He then asks her if she has any personal photos of her on her phone, and she says of course. He suddenly lashes out at her, but then gives her money and tells her to stay at the store and not go home. He then says that he'll find her phone, but then tells her to never call that number again before storming out. Kyun is confused by his panic, but Manny starts putting the pieces together, realizing that the old man is actually Jin's father. The debt collectors leave the building, and Tong-soo approaches the apartment where Kyun's grandfather is waiting outside. The grandfather is demanding food, but Tong-soo just grins and says, "I'm going to eat your granddaughter." Jin is running down the street when he gets a text from his father saying that he found her house. Jin panics and he screams out, "Not her." He tries to come up with a response and ends up texting back, "Are you already there?" Then to throw him off, he texts him again saying, "The police are at our apartment." Tong-soo, who's already inside Kyun's home, immediately leaves. When he returns home, Jin is waiting for him in the living room. His father asks where the police are, and Jin lies, saying that They came because of a fight on their floor and wanted to check the building security footage. But since their apartment doesn't have any cameras, they left. His father is suspicious, but he doesn't press the issue. He then asks why Jin didn't tell him earlier that he had already found the girl. Jin says that he found her crying about her phone that day, and once he realized that his dad had it, decided to leave it up to him. Jin asks if he should get closer to her and then bring her home. His father, in response, just gives him a creepy smile. Jin goes to his room, knowing that he just bought Kyun some time. The next day, Jin gives Kyun her phone back. Kyun says that she knows his father had it and doesn't understand why he's avoiding the topic, but she thanks him for helping her anyway. They continue talking, and eventually, Jin goes to leave to go train with Manny. As they go run, Jin asks Manny about crushes. Jin has never had one before, but Manny says it's obvious that he likes Kyun. Jin denies it, but Manny says he could read it all over his face, especially when he asks if he could take Kyun instead. Manny tells Jin to just have Kyun be his first crush. He needs the experience anyway. Later, Jin is at home and admits to himself that he wants to protect Kyun. He realizes that he really does have a crush on her, even though it was pretty much already obvious. We cut to Kyun in her room, blushing while thinking about Jin. She texts him, and Jin begins freaking out, unsure what to say. They talk about the karaoke incident, and Kyun tells him that she'll be his friend. No matter what, she'll always be on his side. Jin starts blushing and giggling, and that night he falls asleep and has his reoccurring nightmare of someone throwing him off a building. Except this time, Kyun is there to save him. Tongsu and his brother arrive home drunk. Tongsu's brother goes to check on Jin and sees him sleeping, whispering Kyun's name. He lifts the blanket and smirks, then tells Tongsu that Jin is now a man. Tongsu checks for himself, and he walks into the bathroom and sees the hammer. He mutters, "He's a man now, so that's it then." Jin then wakes up deeply embarrassed since he just had his first wet dream. After cleaning up, he writes down all of the traits that his father likes in his victims. Girly, unserious looking women with undyed hair and round faces. Puppy types, not cat-like ones. He memorized it all so he could better protect Kyun. He takes the notes to the park and burns them. Suddenly, Kyun appears. At first she's nervous, but they begin talking like normal. Jin says that he has to go, that he needs to train to fight. Kyun then tells him that even though she doesn't know what's going on with him, she'll always support him. In that moment, Jin knows he has to do everything in his power to stop his father. Tongso once told him that children who disobeyed their parents are called bastards, but Jin is willing to become a bastard if it means saving Kyun. And we're gonna stop right there. Like I said, this series is very long and we're only just a quarter of the way there, but I feel like this is the perfect part to end it off. I am really shocked at how intrigued I've become to this series. It is really freaking good. I love all of the characters. I love the group of kids. I like how they're not really that great of a people, but also not horrible at the same time. But the real highlight has to go to Jin's father. I mean, he really takes the entire spotlight for just how horrible of a villain he could be. It's also really interesting to see hints of his reasoning for killing these girls. At first I didn't really think much of this series, and honestly it did take me a while to even finish reading 24 chapters of this, but after a while it did really hit me. I have no idea how this series is going to progress. Maybe Jin will eventually have to fight alone without Manny or Kyun by his side, or maybe something happens to them and now Jin has to go full demon mode like his father. But I am very excited to see how this series goes, and I can't wait to show you guys part 2 in the next 2 weeks. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to join our Discord, Patreon, and YouTube memberships. All the links will be in the description below. If you want more horror content like this one, then why not scroll down and hit that subscribe button. But I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.